2 years. That was how long it had been since I spoke to my parents. No phone calls. No birthdays. No holidays. Nothing. People assumed we had a dramatic fight. We didn't. The truth was much quieter. 4 years. Every conversation became criticism. Every achievement was dismissed. Every decision I made was somehow wrong. Eventually, I realized something. You can't build a healthy relationship with people who only contact you to control you. So I walked away. I changed my phone number. Moved to another city. Started over. Those 2 years weren't easy. But they were peaceful. Then, one Monday morning, a courier knocked on my apartment door. Legal delivery, he said. I signed for it. The envelope carried the logo of a law firm. My heart started racing. Inside was a single document. The sender, my parents' lawyer. After 2 years of complete silence, they had finally contacted me. Not with a letter. Not with an apology. With legal paperwork. I took a deep breath, opened the document, and within seconds, I burst out laughing. I read the document again just to make sure I wasn't imagining it. It wasn't a lawsuit. It wasn't an inheritance notice. It was a formal request. My parents wanted me to begin sending them a monthly family support payment. According to the letter, I had become financially successful, and they believed I had a moral obligation to support the lifestyle they had become accustomed to. I blinked, then laughed even harder. 4 years, they had told everyone I would never succeed. They mocked my career, called me irresponsible, said I would come crawling back one day asking for help. Now their own lawyer was writing to ask me for money. The irony was almost unbelievable. At the bottom of the document was one sentence. We hope you will handle this matter respectfully. Respectfully? After everything that had happened? I set the paper on the table and smiled, because they clearly didn't remember one very important detail. When I was 21, my grandparents helped me buy my first business. Not with cash. With a loan. A legal loan. Everything was documented by the same law firm now writing to me. My parents had co-signed several agreements back then. One clause always stood out. If either party ever attempted to make false financial claims against another family member, the original loan documents could be reopened for full financial review. At the time, nobody paid attention to it, except my grandfather. He insisted it remain. I called my own attorney. Within an hour, the old files had been located. Every signature, every agreement, every payment, everything. My attorney smiled. They've just created a problem for themselves. A week later, everyone met at the law office. My parents looked confident. They expected me to negotiate. Instead, my attorney quietly placed several old files on the conference table. The room became silent. The lawyer representing my parents recognized the documents immediately. His expression changed. He flipped through the pages, then looked at my parents. You never mentioned these. My father frowned. They're irrelevant. No, the lawyer replied calmly. They're extremely relevant. The request they had sent had automatically triggered a review of earlier financial agreements. And those agreements clearly showed something unexpected. Years earlier, my parents had quietly borrowed money from my grandparents for personal expenses. Most of it had never been repaid. The amount was far larger than the support they were now demanding from me. Suddenly, no one wanted to discuss my money anymore. The meeting ended almost as quickly as it began. My parents withdrew their request. Their lawyer apologized for the misunderstanding. As we stood to leave, my mother finally asked, "Why did you laugh?" I looked at her for a moment. Then I answered honestly, "Because after 2 years of silence, I thought maybe you wanted your child back." I paused, but instead, "You sent paperwork asking for my wallet." Neither of them spoke. There wasn't anything left to say. For the first time, they seemed to understand how much that hurt. Not the legal request, the reason behind it. A month later, another envelope arrived. This time, it wasn't from a lawyer. It was handwritten. Inside was a short letter from my father. He admitted they had made countless mistakes. He confessed that pride had kept them from calling. And when financial problems appeared, they chose the easiest solution instead of the right one. At the end of the letter, he wrote, "We should have reached out as parents, not as people asking for money." I folded the letter carefully. Unlike the legal document, I didn't laugh. Because this one finally contained something that had been missing for years. Honesty. I wasn't ready to rebuild our relationship overnight. Some wounds take time. Some trust has to be earned again. But at least, for the first time in 2 years, they had remembered something important. I wasn't an investment. I wasn't a bank account. I wasn't a problem to solve. I was their child. And sometimes, the funniest document you'll ever receive isn't funny because it's clever. It's funny because it reminds you how desperately some people underestimate the person they walked away from. That day, I laughed at the paperwork, but I kept the letter, because one made me smile, and the other gave me a small reason to hope.
And turn on the bell icon so you never miss a new emotional story. Your support means more than words can say, and it helps us continue bringing these untold stories to life.